Hello everyone, so I'm back with another rapid fire review. So I do these when I get a little behind on my movie watching, and a bit of a twist on this one. I have 3 movies and 1 TV series that I'm going to review. So I mostly do these for more like straight to streaming or just theatrical releases I missed out on that I'm now getting the chance to watch. But all of these, well, 3 films and 1 series you'll be able to find on Netflix. So what I have today for movies is The Wrath of God, Spiderhead, The Man from Toronto, and then the series I have is Man vs. Bee. So yes, all of these are on Netflix. You'll be able to find it on there if you want to take a look at these films after watching this review. But yes, without further ado, let me get into my rapid fire review for these these 3 films and 1 TV series. So first up, we have The Wrath of God. This is about a young woman named Luciana who is immersed in a circle of mysterious deaths around her family, and the growing suspicion that the person responsible for all of them is her former boss, who is basically just a very famous writer they have a very troubled past that kind of ruined both one another and took a huge part of their lives. So a lot of it is her trying to prove that her boss, who's again a very, very famous writer, is committing these murders. That is kind of like the first case of a celebrity murderer that this town has ever really heard of, or at least a lot of the people have ever heard of. So it's very tough for her to convince such a case. I found that the pacing of this film was honestly pretty decent. There's decent cinematography. The acting is honestly pretty great throughout the whole film. But I just found that it really falls apart near, I want to say like the halfway point, and a lot of things just don't really feel like they hold a ton of weight kind of by the end result, or things just felt really unresolved. This movie could have felt like it should have gone different ways that could have been a lot more entertaining or brought it a lot more within the characters themselves. It's definitely one of those movies that's very, very grim from start to finish, and not knocking it for that, I did find that it was able to, again, just really bring that sense into the entirety of the movie, and I applaud it for, again, just a few things that this movie does very, very well. But I just found the overall project, when you kind of get to the end, feels very lackluster, and again, just missing a lot of things and elements that could have made it a lot better in the end result. So without really saying too much more than that to take away from the plot of this movie, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. I just feel like it missed the mark on so many things. Could have been a lot better in many ways, and yeah, it just felt really flat for me when the final kind of picture was painted. Next movie I have is Spiderhead. This one is about an hour and 45 minutes long, and it stars Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller. So it brings 2 very, very good actors to the forefront of this movie. But in the near future, convicts are offered the chance to volunteer as medical subjects to shorten their sentence in a prison run by Chris Hemsworth's characters, and Miles Teller is one of these prisoners. So Miles Teller's character is subject for a new drug capable of generating feelings of love, and he starts to begin questioning the reality of his emotions and what he's feeling, and it just leads to kind of a spiral of uncovering what this facility truly is trying to accomplish, and just how far the facility and these tests will go to get the results that they want. So this facility is completely remote, and the prisoners do have basically absolute freedom to go around and, I mean, not in a state of anarchy, but to live peacefully and eat food that they want, like really, really good meals. They have activities planned for them throughout the day, but of course they have to subject themselves to these trials when they're called upon. And yes, it's all operated by Chris Hemsworth, who plays a very, very charismatic character and brings a lot of life to his role and a lot of life to the movie. I found that he was easily the best performance and really what held up a lot of this film together. And when you start to see how the subjects and these drugs start working on the prisoners, I found that this movie could have been something so much cooler. It's a great concept, and it's something so bold. And again, there's just so many genres of film that I found that this could have explored or gone down, but really just turns into a very generic mess of a movie kind of in the second half, when again a lot of these realizations by Miles Teller's character start happening. It was just so bland and boring when the concept itself is so grand and so cool, and I thought it might have like been going down a horror movie path that would have been absolutely amazing, like almost turned this prison into an asylum. Again, there's just so many more interesting things that I found this movie could have explored with. It's very, very good concept. But again, Chris Hemsworth is good in it. Miles Teller has a very decent performance too. There's also Journey Smollett, who puts on a pretty dang good, amazing performance as well. But yeah, again, this is just a great concept that missed out on a ton of things that could have been very, very cool in the end result. And really, with everything taken together, I'm gonna have to give again Spiderhead a 5 out of 10, which I feel is a little more generous. But again, it's just because the concept was so good. Chris Hemsworth was really good in the role, but it just again could not stick the landing. So the third and final movie I have is The Man from Toronto. This stars Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson and is about the world's deadliest assassin. So the Man from Toronto, played by Woody Harrelson, has his identity mistaken for Kevin Hart, who becomes the Man of Toronto by trying to take his wife on a vacation, goes to the wrong address at an Airbnb, and things just transpire from there. And he has to take on the persona of the Man from Toronto in order to take down a bigger crime organization. So Hart and Harrelson's characters have to basically team up with one another to make certain that they both get the end of this journey that will keep them both alive and with a lot of money in their pockets. And I did really think I didn't watch any of the trailers going into this, and when the movie first started, I definitely thought this was going to be a super generic and just raunchy comedy. And it honestly turned out to be a lot more than that, and I did enjoy myself watching it. So I do find that the score I'm going to give it at the end might be a little too generous for what this movie was, but I honestly just kind of the shock that I had from it actually being pretty good, having really good fight and action sequences. Honestly, I mean, even though you don't really get to know the villains too well, a decent plot line that goes around and stakes that definitely would have been absolutely huge in a real world setting. I thought this was a very fun movie, believable in some cases. I mean, Kevin Hart's, whether you like his humor or not, I did find he was pretty decent and one of his better movie performances throughout this film. And again, the humor was pretty hit or miss for me in a lot of places. But again, just the action, the overall story, some really decent acting. And again, just kind of the surprise elements of what this movie was made it very, very entertaining. There's an amazing fight sequence near the end of this film in like the last 20 to 30 minutes that again I just thought was very, very well done. And yeah, this was definitely a surprise hit for me. So I'm gonna have to give The Man from Toronto a 7 out of 10. I do recommend it. It's just kind of a fun, turn your brain off, have some fun, have some laughs watch. If you're looking for anything to watch on Netflix, it's about an hour and 15 minutes long, so it's pretty easy to binge through. And then the final entry here to this rapid fire review is Man vs. Bees. So this is a comedy series which is 9 episodes long. Each of those episodes are about like anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, and it stars Rowan Atkinson in the main role. So he finds himself at war with a bee while house sitting a very luxurious mansion. He has a bunch of very expensive things to take care of within this house and a lot of responsibilities that he is 100% not cut out for to be doing. But there is a bee who basically starts terrorizing him, and in that case, he starts terrorizing the house, trying to end this bee and get it out of his life and out of the house. And just so much happens within the 9 episodes of this show that is just absolutely crazy, and kind of one of that humor that only someone like Rowan Atkinson can pull off, because it's just so goofy and he turns like the most basic of things into something that's comedy genius and just really funny in a lot of ways. It's just his mannerisms again are so funny, from what he's done with Mr. Bean or well anything Rowan Atkinson has done in the past. He's just really, really funny here and definitely still like on the top of his game. Some of the scenarios are just so wacky and unbelievable, and it's so hard to believe that a person like this could actually exist. But I did have a lot of fun watching this. You do feel for the character. The plot transpires into something by the end of the show that I was not expecting it to go to, and I actually really enjoyed it. And again, it was just something that I found was very, very sweet and really, really funny in a lot of ways. And most of the humor landed for me. I thought it was really, really funny. There's only like a few like plot devices that didn't really do a whole lot for me, but I really actually enjoyed this series by the end of it. So with everything taken together, it's a short and very, very sweet series that doesn't, again, have a whole lot with the plots, but I did quite enjoy it. I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10, I thought, again, it was just absolutely hilarious. Rowan Atkinson is really, really good in it, and I just really enjoyed Man vs. Bee in my time watching it. So if you've seen any of these movies and shows on Netflix, please let me know what you thought about them in the comments down below. And if you like this review, of course, give it a thumbs up. And you can check out everything I do on this channel through my playlist down below, and I'll link them up top here for convenience sake, of course. Thank you for subscribing and turning that little bell on so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to check out everything I do live streaming Twitch-wise, link to that in the description of this video, and of course my channel bio. And in both those places, you'll find a link to the Media Mountain, which is my Discord, where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So you can definitely join that amazing community. I'll make it even more amazing than it is already, and just awesome, guys.